Taysom Hill. How much money is Taysom Hill getting in free agency? This guy's an RFA, or actually he probably won't even make it. I assume that
he's an RFA. He's not going to be a free agent.
I know. It was just a joke. I saw the best joke on Twitter was somebody was like, if Sean Payton had 2 daughters, he would force them both to marry Taysom Hill. Because that's how much.
I don't even want to get into the fact that he played at BYU either, and like where that joke could go. Yeah.
Do you think this could be a copycat situation with Taysom Hill, where more teams try and get I think I can't remember where I heard this either, but the comp is like the athlete in NCAA the video game, where like you recruit somebody who's like an ATH. Like you're not a quarterback, you're not a wide receiver, you're an athlete, and you can do that in college. You don't ever see it. You didn't ever see it in the pros, but now there's a chance that it's a copycat league, right? This could happen, maybe.
It could happen. I think it takes a play caller who feels confident in his ability to put him in positions to execute and be successful, and then also a quarterback that you can sell that to. This doesn't happen in New England, okay? And the funny thing is like Josh McDaniels drafted Tim Tebow to kind of play that sort of role, right? Like short yardage, goal line, some wildcat. And it was before his time, but it was also like it was a different type of athlete, right? Like Tim couldn't run a 4.4 like Taysom Hill can. Taysom Hill ran a 4.4 40 at his pro day. Tim was like a 4.7 guy. Like it's like an entirely different athlete as far as what you're going to utilize him or how you're going to utilize him. So to some degree he was effective, but like not like Taysom has been. And in the way they've used him on special teams and as a receiver, as a running back, everything. So, could you try to mimic what they're doing? Of course, but that's what Baltimore is doing with Lamar Jackson. The problem is those talents are rare. And as much as we want to look at Taysom Hill and how effective it is in doses, because he actually had a pretty bad injury history during his time at BYU. A lot of his seasons ended in injury. It was unfortunate. He was a heck of a player. But since he's gotten in the NFL, he's kind of found his niche, and that's great. But it's not very often you find those guys and you find the situation where you can really do it. So was he the best part of their offense this past weekend? Yeah, of course. Like he actually, I thought, gave me more confidence in them being able to move the football when he was in the game than when Drew Brees was back there. So I think Drew maybe understands to some degree where he's at in his career, and Sean Payton and him have a trust where, they know who the quarterback or QB1 is. Taysom Hill's kind of that changeup. I just don't know how many scenarios that, you really feel like you could do that with, because if Taysom Hill goes in and your guy's not a solidified starter, like let's say this is Chicago. At some point you have people clamoring just for the guy to start in general over Trubisky if he's not, warranting like being in there enough. So I think it could create a little bit of a distraction or some confusion there, even within the locker room to some degree. And that's obviously not the case with the Saints.
I have a comp for you, Brady, and tell me what you think. You're right. I just looked it up. You're exactly right. Taysom Hill ran a 4.4 at his pro day, 38.5 vertical inch, which is bonkers. When I watch him and I watch this other guy, I'm reminded of Taysom Hill a little bit. Jalen Hurts. I don't know how fast Jalen Hurts is going to run, but he can obviously throw. He can run around the pocket. He can run like, he runs more like Leonard Fournette, I feel like, than Taysom Hill. But he is a diverse sort of skill set. He ain't a starting quarterback. He's probably not a first or second day pick. And you take him in day 3 and take a flyer on him. The situation, as you sort of point out, it has to be right. It has to be perhaps something where the quarterback is 2 or 3 years left in his deal. He's maybe he's in his late 30s, early 40s. Those situations are rare, obviously, but a change of pace quarterback who can do more than just run quarterback sweeps left and right, but can also obviously throw the ball and be a dynamic playmaker.
I think my only concern with him is how big is he compared to Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's a big dude. I want to say Jalen Hurts is probably 6'2", 225, and I would be willing to guess that Taysom Hill's maybe about as tall, a little taller, and probably 245, maybe closer to 250. He's a pretty big boy. He's pretty thick, so he can take some of that wear and tear. And again, the difference is, and something that we don't pay attention to enough, is Jalen Hurts going to play wide receiver? Is Jalen Hurts going to play on special teams and be willing to do that? A guy who's been incredibly successful during his college career, as aspirations of being a quarterback. That's why he went to Oklahoma, is to prove people that he can be. So if that's the case, is he going to be willing to sell out and then play all those roles and be kind of this ATH for an NFL team and taking up basically multiple positions with one roster spot, which is incredibly invaluable. So I don't know that he's going to be willing to do all that kind of stuff. It takes a hit to your pride and your ego to kind of check that at the door and be willing to kind of sell out really for your team. And it's not like, again, there's a high price tag that comes along with that.